Welcome back. This is segment 2 of an exciting set of interviews that I'm going to that I am having with Sham Kashikar. Sham has held a lot of really interesting roles. We introduced him in our first segment. Hey, if you haven't seen the first segment, make sure you go back and catch up on that. And there will be a third segment after this one as well. So make sure you get all three of them. It'll give you the full picture of what we're talking about. So one of the things that we're going to be looking at is exploring the opportunities and challenges of participating in data sharing ecosystems. And we're going to look at marketplaces and open data initiatives. Those two terms are being used frequently in discussions amongst data and AI people these days, marketplaces and open data. So, Sham, the idea of data sharing, it's very alluring. Everyone wants to get involved in doing it in some way or another, but it's difficult. And many people have floundered in terms of the implementation of it. What have you seen as being the major challenges of participating in data sharing ecosystems? And can you give us some examples?
Derek, you are absolutely right. Data sharing is a very compelling. At the same time, in real world, it is very difficult to really build a sustainable ecosystem. When the business benefits are very clear, people understand they can achieve variety of business goals or benefits. But in spite of that, there is a lot of hesitance in participating in the data sharing program. And one of the foremost obstacle there or challenge there is the trust. And trust in variety of different ways. First of all, privacy, compliance, about your data, your customers' data, individuals' data. That is one thing. But also sharing competitive landscape when you have to share the data with partners, or sometimes you have to share the data with the competitors as well, depending on what the sharing objective goals are. So with that said, yeah, so trust is, I think, the main challenge there. And following to that, the technical aspect of it. The technology challenges when you want to share the data, a lot of things about security, system interoperability that comes in place. Different companies, they have their different systems, different technologies, and how do you really share the data which is consistent, secure, and scalable? And that's where some of the things that you mentioned, like marketplace and open data forums, those are really helping companies like Snowflake and Databricks. They are providing the platform. And by and large, they are taking a lot of those elements out, the security, access, because you have an ability to really define what you want to share, who you want to share, and having the security mechanism in place, the compliance mechanism in place, which are provided by the platform vendors like Snowflake or Databricks, can really help you focus on the actual business outcome and not worry about those challenges. So, of course, once it is done, if it is done right, it is a strategic enabler for the business, the better AI outcome, and it can provide a big business value.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely a worthwhile goal, to pursue. How have you seen organizations address this, and what are some of the solutions that they've come up with?
Yeah, so I will give some leading industry example. So in advertising world, advertising platform companies, mainly Beta and Google, they have a massive amount of data. And not only lots of advertisers, big customers, they come and leverage their platform in terms of promoting their product. At the same time, those customers, they need to constantly evaluate how effective they are in spending the money on the ad platforms and really getting the ROI. So as a part of that, both these companies, they want to help their customer. They want to help the customer really understand what is happening in their industry vertical, how other people in their industry segment leveraging the different products, what are the different trends in that, and how they stack against the people or the organization in their industry. And that can benefit a lot of organizations, and they can really leverage and advance their cause and really optimize their ROI and make sure that they're achieving the business benefit as a part of their advertising plan. But then the question is, how do you share the data? It is very important. So, for example, if you want to share data about retail industry, you cannot share with the target that this is what Walmart is doing, then it will be absolute disaster. It will not only create a lot of compliance issues, legal issues, but that is definitely nobody's going to like that. So what are the things what these companies have done is basically created an aggregated insight. Retail industry, what are the trends in the retail industry? Which products they are using? What are the different mechanisms they are employing? How they are doing it in Europe versus in North America? And this is the insight they create. But the insight is created in a very aggregated format. So you cannot identify any customer within that segment or vertical. You cannot identify personal information about in the customer. So that is, and masking the data is one of the very, very important thing. And that is where you can gain the trust, right? That is very important. And some of the other things also work very well in those initiatives of having a stringent access mechanism in place. Who are we going to provide the access? And what are the access control mechanism? What are the review processes around that? And having that stringent process in place is also very critical in terms of making those things very successful.
Right. Yeah. So the bottom line is it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah. And organizations have been successful doing this, but it does take thought. It does take using the right technologies and making sure that everyone involved understands all the aspects and is working together as a team. That pretty much covers it for segment 2 of our discussion. So for our listeners, make sure that you pick up segment 1 if you haven't seen it, and also watch out for segment 3 as we conclude this discussion with Sham Kashikar. We'll see you in segment 3.